Hi guys, welcome to another LivinginSAtv podcast. Today we are going to speak about human trafficking, the first episode out of two, and I brought to the show the COO of Stop Trafficking. Her name is Tershia de Klerk, and we will definitely learn more about this awful phenomena, and I want you to pay attention, especially if you have children. Stay tuned because once again this video will blow your mind. Hi everyone, welcome to another LivinginSAtv podcast. Today we have a very special guest in our podcast. Her name is Miss Tershia de Klerk, and she is the CEO behind StopTrafficking.org. Hi Tershia, how are you?
Hello, David. Thank you. I am very well, and I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you very much. It's also a pleasure. Okay, so today we're going to speak with Tershia regarding human trafficking in South Africa, so we can have a better idea of what it is and also a little bit of an insight into what's really going on. So we're going to ask some questions to get a better understanding. So the first question will be to Ms. Tershia. Please tell us what your institution does.
Thank you, David. Yes, so our organization is called Stop Trafficking of People, and we are a proudly South African non-profit organization, and we are built on biblical principles. And basically, Stop exists to combat all aspects of human trafficking. And the way we do it is through preventative awareness, advocacy, as well as support. And I'm not sure whether you're aware, but only between 1 to 2 human trafficking victims ever get saved. And for that reason, David, we mainly focus on preventative education. We have developed a number of programs. One is called Stop Junior, which is an age-appropriate program that we've developed and that we present in schools. And then we also have adult programs that we present to teachers, to parents. We also do training with the SAPS. And so that is our main focus, because we believe that obviously prevention is better than cure. And yes, so basically with our programs, we teach what is human trafficking, how to stay safe on the ground, but also online, because online, especially now in COVID times, has become so much more of a danger zone if you are not well informed and careful. And then we also teach as to how to identify even possible human trafficking victims, and also how to report it.
All right, thank you very much. So the second question will be, what was the reason behind the creation of your organization?
Well, Stop Trafficking of People actually was birthed during a prayer meeting, and there was a distinct realization that with the upcoming FIFA World Cup at the time, which was in 2010, at this stage, that realization started really sinking in 2008. And it was that with the World Cup, it will also bring a greater demand for sex tourism, and therefore an increased demand on the sex trade. And we know that prostitution as well as pornography are very much dependent on human trafficking. So that is why we were birthed, and from there Stop just continued growing.
Okay, very well. What is human trafficking exactly?
Okay, so human trafficking is basically modern day slavery. And it takes place when a person is either tricked, forced, coerced for the use of their body or for their labor. And so the focus there is on the word use. It is basically exploitation of people's vulnerabilities. In our Stop Junior programs, for instance, when we work with children, we try to simplify it and we teach them the 3 T's. And the 3 T's is basically you are tricked, trapped, and then traded. So that's actually an easy way to remember what human trafficking really is. Yeah. So there we go.
Trick, trap. Okay, trick,
Traded.
trap, and traded. Got it. Completely.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Because in so many cases, people tend to think, when you talk about human trafficking, they would think abduction, a child's been stolen and gone missing. But the reality is, in most human trafficking cases, people are lured in and people are tricked, and maybe later on we can just go into more depth with regards to that. So we have to remember that human trafficking is not abduction and a person's gone. It is far more than that. Yes, that does happen, and there are extreme cases as well. However, we must remember that human trafficking is actually something that is a hidden crime, and it happens all around us. And the truth of the matter is that just about every single one of us have encountered a trafficking victim without even realizing it. And so I'm hoping that we can touch on that a bit later.
Perfect. Okay, so what types of human trafficking exists?
Okay, so there are quite a few. The ones that are most well known is the sex trafficking and forced labor, and also child trafficking. Then there's also forced marriage, which is very prevalent in South Africa. One of the examples, for instance, is ukutwala. Ukutwala is a traditional cultural practice, which is basically an arranged marriage, and it used to be with the consent of both parties. But during the past years, it's actually been distorted. And what has happened is that there would mostly be one of the parties that is actually being forced to marry another. And in normal cases, it would be a young girl, very young girl, that is given to a much older man. Then there's also forced begging. And I just really want to emphasize it. Forced begging. It is a form of human trafficking, and it's very prevalent in South Africa. Most of us, before I started this work, would just shun beggars at my car window. But many of them, especially the children, are being forced to beg. Then we also have organ harvesting, which is a very dark side of human trafficking. And then we have bonded labor and also involuntary servitude. And then lastly, I just want to mention child soldiers, which we don't really find in our country. However, we do have reason to believe that some of our children are taken from South Africa into other African countries to be trained and forced to be child soldiers. So yes, there we go. That is the long list of all of them.
That's incredible. I actually heard about the force banging because in Europe we have a lot of people from Romania, for example, that they are begging on the streets, and most of them they don't have sometimes hands and all that. And when that came up, people couldn't believe what was going on. So force
Yes.
banging is actually a way of trafficking people. It's also a sector inside of human trafficking. And when I heard that, I couldn't believe it. It was so when people try to escape, they punish them by cutting a limb, for example, which is terrifying. It's really terrifying.
You're 100% right. I like to say that with modern day slavery, the contemporary shackles is fear. So yes, there are those extreme cases where people are tied up and beaten and really badly abused. There are those stories. But the vast majority of the stories is that people are trapped because of fear and because of manipulation. And even in some cases, not only their lives are threatened, but also the lives of their families. So those are some of the contemporary shackles of modern day slavery. Yeah.
There are lots of cases, also especially in Southern Europe, that I know about, that some people from African countries that go up there waiting for a better life, and they actually end up working in, I will call it agricultural slavery camps. So they will be working for years in these greenhouses, planting fruits, tomatoes, vegetables, and they live in precarious, let's say, conditions on those camps. And it's open
Yes.
for everyone to see, but nobody really cares about it. That's another thing.
No.
Yes,
But that's why I say that is a hidden crime, because it is not something that is in your face and very obvious. For example, we have done outreaches in malls where we simply have a info booth where we just create awareness, and when shoppers are willing to speak to us, we try to really engage. And during those kind of outreaches, we have actually been shocked to find that there are foreign people working in some of the shops in those shopping malls who are trafficking victims. And we had an opportunity once to actually be part of a rescue of a man who was from a foreign country in Africa, who was lured into South Africa with a promise of a better life, a good income. He can really look after himself and his family. And when he got here, his identification documents were taken from him. He was working for a ridiculously low income, and 90% of that salary or wages was taken from him every month. And he was told that you are paying back a debt for your traveling costs that we had to cover, for your accommodation, etc. And his cell phone was often monitored and checked. And also his family in Pakistan was threatened. Their lives were threatened. So that's where the entrapment was. Yeah. So it's very real and all around us.
Thank you. Trick, trap, traded.
That's it.
Okay, so next question is, what measures are out there to fight human trafficking?
Okay, so traffickers enjoy preying on those who are desperate for an income, mostly. And one of the measures that we have taken is we have developed a program by the name of Prevention versus Cure. And that is a free job vetting service that we provide to the public. That is one measure, and we really encourage the public and people to use our services. So what we do is, if you receive a job offer, you send us all the information that you have, and then we have people who are trained to investigate. And if there are multiple red flags that come up, then we would send the person or the inquirer a report to warn them that it is a possible human trafficking situation, and then they would stay away from that. So that is one measure. And then our preventative awareness programs in the schools with adults, especially teachers and parents, is also a measure, because we have to educate. We all have to be informed, and we all have to be able or be equipped to see the telltale signs of a possible victim or the telltale signs of a possible trap. So that is the one thing that we really want to focus on. And then also, there are actually a network of organizations that combat human trafficking, and we're all part of that network, and we all are often in contact with one another, because many of us have a very core focus in the field, so we can keep one another updated with trends and what is currently happening on the ground, etc. Yes, and then there are also a number of tools that are available to the public. And one of those tools are, for instance, social media, where you can follow Stop Trafficking of People on social media, where we also inform and equip. And there are amazing safety apps as well. The one that has been around for many years and is just growing and phenomenal is called Namola. So Namola is a safety app, and it includes a panic button, and they are exceptionally effective. They work directly with private security companies throughout South Africa. So I would really encourage people to download that app. And the app is for free. There are advanced versions of the app, which you can pay for then, or would have to pay for. But basically, the basic and still brilliant platform of Namola is for free. And then there's also the Freedom app. Now, the Freedom app is also a free app with a panic button, but that app focuses only on human trafficking. And what's nice about that app is it includes like a little chat section where you can actually chat with them directly. So if you maybe feel like you're in a dangerous situation, or you have any questions regarding human trafficking, or perhaps you suspect an area, or you suspect that a person is being coerced or anything like that, you can chat to them directly. And yes, and then we want to encourage people to invite us to their schools and to their churches and to their organizations. We will speak with any group of people, any ages, from pre-primary through to university level and corporates. So our programs are fun and informative and interactive. And so that is what I would advise the public to do and to use.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Tershia. Okay, so next question. What are the statistics around human trafficking in South Africa?
Okay, so statistics, I think, like we all realize, it is quite a difficult thing, especially, I'm sorry to say, in South Africa. Human trafficking, because it's a hidden crime and it is often overshadowed by other crimes, such as drug smuggling, for instance. It is also not often reported, which is a major problem. And also when it comes to children, when children are exploited, they do not always understand that what is being done to them is not their fault, and it's also actually against the law. So that is another problem. And as mentioned earlier, fear plays a major role. And that would be one of the reasons why it's not reported. However, what is wonderful about our network of contacts is it includes a national human trafficking hotline. And I would like to give their contact number later on, if you would allow me. It's a very easy number to remember. But the human trafficking hotline in South Africa provides all of our network partners with their statistics, as well as the Global Slavery Index. So those are two reliable sources that we would always go to. And basically what they've been reporting is that approximately 155,000 people are trapped in human trafficking in South Africa at any given moment. So that is actually something to really try and digest. And then almost 3 out of every 1,000 South Africans fall victim to human trafficking each year. So those are the reliable statistics that we can give from people that physically work on the ground. So yes, so 150,000 people currently, if you think about it, are trapped in human trafficking in South Africa, David.
How do human traffickers target their victims?
Okay, so there are quite a number of ways, David. Human traffickers would work individually, and they would also work using a network of people, such as landlords, farm owners, taxi drivers, ID forgers, etc. And it also appears to us that the cases mostly take place from rural to urban areas. So people from the rural areas are mostly also more vulnerable and susceptible, and they are then taken from rural to urban. So some of the most common tactics that we have found is fake job offers, as well as contractual scams. So many of the cases that our Prevention versus Cure program has dealt with is job scams, and then fake modeling contracts, as well as soccer contracts, fake soccer contracts. And the traffickers use this to lure especially the youngsters in. So those are some of the tactics used. And we must remember that especially foreigners who are seeking a better future for themselves. Obviously, they get targeted a lot. And this includes South Africans who want to move to a foreign country. So South Africa is a destination for human trafficking. It is a transit for human trafficking, and it's also a source for human trafficking, which is pretty scary. Okay, and then there is also online grooming and fake profiles. And David, I'm sure you have heard of so many fake profiles on chat groups or dating sites and even Facebook. And most of these cases are people who are trying to groom others online, and that happens a lot. And the use of the internet and of social media and apps and so forth actually has increased, unfortunately, during COVID. So people really must be exceptionally careful. Then there's also the blesser phenomenon, or actually what we call the blesser-blessee phenomenon. I don't know if you're aware, but I remember this happening years ago, and you actually still see it in some, not really magazines, but newspapers, where there's a little advert of a blesser who's inviting women to become a kind of a partner to spend time with, and he will be their blesser and provide them with so many financial benefits and spoil them, etc. But that, unfortunately, has also been used by traffickers to lure especially women in. And also, we must also remember that traffickers, they change their tactics, and they absolutely love using the internet because it is so easy and there are so many people to choose from. And what they do is they also look at the pictures that we post on social media. In so many cases, I would sometimes grind my teeth because I know it's done innocently when parents post pictures of their children on Facebook, for instance. And I understand that because I'm a parent myself. But the traffickers look out for those. And the problem with that is you post a picture of your child, you maybe post their name, even if it's just the first name. Some post pictures of first day at school, and the child's wearing the uniform. It gives away the school name. And sometimes even in some of our pictures, the background of the picture can give away so much. So please, we have to be careful. All of us have to be just so careful. And now that we are spending more time online, why would traffickers not be doing so? Because they know that our vulnerability has increased during COVID, and we are so much more reachable through the internet. So yes, I hope that I've answered that question properly for you, David.
You did very insightful examples, very productive. I must say, very. Even me, I thought I knew a little bit about it, but now listening to you, I actually learn even more. So thank you for that.
Okay, so last question. How can people contact your organization if they want to report activity or ask for assistance?
Yes, so thank you, David, for that. It is very important. So we have made it easier for people to contact us because we have a contact number, but it can also be used as a WhatsApp number. And we welcome people to WhatsApp us if that's more affordable or an easier way for you to contact us. Our number is 081 720 7181. And then also, if they want to email us, also very easy, info@stoptrafficking.org.za. So I'll repeat it quickly. The number is 081 720 7181 or info@stoptrafficking.org.za. And yes, that's how people can make contact with us. Thank you, David.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Would you like to add something else before we finish the chat? Because I think you wanted to add something earlier.
I just want to add that we are part of an anti-human trafficking network of organizations, and all of us belong to the National Freedom Network. And what is amazing about it is that there's a collaboration there amongst all of us so that we can all speak as one voice instead of being these little pockets of anti-human trafficking organizations. And because we really just want our voices to be heard. And yeah, each organization plays a unique role and has a key focus. However, a very big challenge for us is that most of these organizations are non-profit organizations. But besides that, because I don't want to talk money or funds, and NPOs really rely on volunteers. So I just want to also encourage viewers that if they want to get involved in this fight, combating human trafficking, which is prevalent. If you feel that you have a heart for that, if you either want to be a presenter in schools, or if you have any kind of talent that you think we can use, like maybe IT skills, social media skills, videography, absolutely anything, then please contact us. We really are all in need of volunteers that are committed. Thank you, David.
It's a pleasure. And don't forget, for the youngsters watching this, that is very important for you to have volunteering actions into your CV, because it can boost your job opportunities. If you need a real life project, you might contact Stop Trafficking to do something like this, because it will be good for your personal development as a human being.
Yes, definitely. True. Thank you for that.
Tershia, thank you so much for the conversation. I'm more enlightened about the subject. And again, share, subscribe, destroy that like button, and make sure that you put your ideas below for other podcasts that you want me to cover. And I will see you in the next LivinginSAtv podcast.
Wow, guys, wasn't this amazing? Make sure you share, you subscribe, you destroy that like button, and I'll see you in the next LivinginSAtv podcast.